Sam, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
You set up your business in 2005 as an internet service provider. Back then, it was sort of dial-up stage. What made you think that you could go up against the likes of Telstra and Optus?
Yeah, sure. Good question. I really didn't think about it. I just I found a niche in the market, and back then it was either Telstra, Optus, or iPrimus. So it was mainly a lot of residential players and some big corporate ones. So for me, it was about finding a niche where we're coming somewhere in the middle, and we actually add value to the end user, to the customers. And we didn't want to be just like a Telstra house. We wanted to be able to get everything from everywhere and provide the customer a service based on the location, based on best pricing.
So were you in IT at the time?
Yeah, I was. A little bit long before that, I went to university. Like most uni students, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was having a lot of fun, a lot of freedom at uni, spending a lot of time in the cafeteria, and then living at home with mum and dad.
Yeah.
And one day I remember coming home and sitting in the driveway in the car and kind of feeling lost, feeling a little bit like a phony, being that cool kid at school, but really not having any direction of where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do with my life.
Yeah. So how old were you then?
So I think probably 25, 26, around that.
Yeah.
So I just started bawling my eyes out because I just felt like I was trapped. I didn't want to disappoint myself. I didn't want to disappoint my parents. I didn't want to be a failure. So I remember reversing the car out and going to the closest Centrelink office. Back then, Centrelink offices, they had these little computers where you can touch the screen and it print out a job. So I like computers. Computers were quite new back then. I didn't know a lot about computers. I just had an interest in it. You know, I remember having an old Commodore 64 where I used to play games on it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't massive on knowledge wise. Anyways, it printed out a job description about a support position in a company called ESA. This is back in the dial-up days. ESA was one of the new comers into the industry. I went to the counter. The lady set up an interview for me at 459 Collins Street. I was quite excited. Never worn a suit before, so I put a suit together. It was probably a three-piece suit and double-breasted, which you wouldn't wear today, right? It was pretty cool back then. I actually have a photo of it.
Different to
this.
Yeah,
I actually have a photo of it, and every time I look at it, I kind of cringe. I'm like, oh, that's terrible.
We'll dig that up for the story.
Get rid of that photo. So I remember going up to the building, level 14. I walked up, reception. I said, I'm here for an interview. She goes, go down the corridor and see Stuart. I went down the corridor. There's a young guy, probably in his 30s. Stuart, he said, are you here for the interview? I said, yes. He goes, what do you know about computers? I said, I know how to turn them on, and I know how to browse. And he says, $7.50 an hour, you start tomorrow.
Did you actually say that?
That's exactly what happened. That's how I started my journey. So I rocked up the next day to work, put a headset on. This place was chaotic. So you got to go back to the days of when dial-up was just quite new.
Yeah.
So really chaotic. All these young kids in skateboard gear, kids, all sorts of different people, right?
Yeah.
You put a headset on, you log in, and you start answering support calls.
So support calls for people for internet.
Yeah, so people that sign up, so there's a sales division, and then they need to sign up. Once they sign up, they need you to onboard them. If they can't connect, you need to help them connect and all that kind of stuff. So I did that for probably around 12 months.
And this was your first proper job?
My first proper job, yeah.
You were in uni though at the time?
Yeah, I was at uni. So for me, coming from a background, the Persian background, you kind of have to be either a doctor or engineer. If you're not a doctor or engineer, you've kind of failed your family, right?
Really?
Yes. So for me, I was doing information technology. I liked it, but I was never big on university. It's something that it taught me a lot. But I didn't want to follow rules. I always wanted to do my own thing. I wasn't one of those kids that you go to school, read books. Once you finish your books, you get a job, and then you move on from there. For me, it was about just doing something different. I guess having some kind of a purpose in my own way.
Yeah.
And for me, the purpose was really about. It goes back a little bit longer, so it's about.
But did you have a plan to go to uni? Was there big pressure on you and that kind of thing?
Yeah,
what
look,
was
as a child, I think people say to you, "Oh, what are you going to do in the next 2-5 years?" How do you know what you're going to do as a child? As a teenager, you don't even know what you're going to do in the next couple of days. So for me, it was. I grew up in Iran.
Yeah.
So I came to Australia when I was 10 years old. So back in 1989, I came with my mum and my sister. We came here as refugees. We came on a plane. We landed in Melbourne. We didn't have our passport, so it was a bit of a shock to the system not having a passport and coming to the country. So we went through this phase of being in a detention center for a number of years, and then leaving there and living in the hostel for a year or so we can get on our feet. And so for me, it was a shock to the system. I went from having a life where we had everything to absolutely having nothing. But one of the things I remember quite well is that the generosity of other people. I remember getting our first TV from the church, and it was a black and white TV, and it had that dial that you had to screw with your hand, right? But I tell you what, it was so exciting. Like, I still remember those moments.
Yeah.
I remember the moments where total strangers came and took me and my mum and sister out to parks and different places and all that. People that we had no connections with whatsoever, right? So for me, it was about really that kind of helped me build a purpose in life. And my purpose was, people go, oh, why did you start Broadband Solutions? Or why did you do this? Why did you do that? For me, it was really finding that something that I was good at, something that I had experience in, something that I understood. And really doing something different and allowing that to allow me to be in a position where I can make a difference in other people's lives. Because I know what it feels like not to have anything, for people to actually be kind and generous and help you in life.
But it's interesting that your earliest memories, your memories from being in the detention centre and when you landed in Australia, is people's generosity. Not so much the hardship that you went through, it's what people did to help you.
Yeah, look, everybody has a life story, but we don't really sit down and take the time to get to know their real life story. Like, we are who we are based on the circumstances in our life, right? But that's just life. We can either become a victim, or we can say, you know what, yes, what's happened is wrong, and I'm sorry that that's happened to someone. But that's just life. You got to move on, and you got to make a difference, and you got to take that as a fuel to push you to achieve what you want in life.
So that really did carve out, you think, attributed to your success?
Oh, I definitely do, because I know what hardship feels like. I know what it feels like not to have the coolest shoes at school. I know what it feels like to be bullied and picked on.
You can't say.
I
You
know,
certainly
can't say that
you've
no
got the
more.
coolest shoes. Can we zoom in on those shoes, please? They're pretty cool.
But so it teaches you things, and it builds character. Because you're not taught those stuff at school. You don't learn that at school.
No.
Right? You learn it. It's called the school of life, right? You learn it by growing up and going through different things in your life.
So when you went to uni and then you left uni and you got this job, was the plan at that point to set up your own business?
The plan was to actually get out of tech support because it was so miserable. Everybody that rang was angry because the internet didn't work.
I can imagine.
So I'm like, I need to get a better job. Everyone's always angry at me, right? And I'm sick of doing these dial-up modem strings and making these shh noises all the time. Is that what your modem's doing? It's terrible, right?
Turn it off, turn it on again.
Yeah, I have to make these shh noises all the time. Is that what it's terrible? So the number one plan was to leave support and do sales. I thought, you know what? I've got the gift of the gab. I can talk to people. I feel comfortable in my own skin. So I should look into doing sales. So back then, just internet broadband was just coming in. ADSL was quite new. I went for a job interview. It was a family business called Labyrinth, which ended up being Keypoint, which ended up being ESA. I remember I went for an interview, and the gentleman's wife interviewed me. The owner's wife interviewed me, Sally. And I got called back for a second interview, and Matthew interviewed me. And he said, oh, Sally said your English wasn't, up to scratch, and maybe you'll struggle when it comes to selling services to CEOs and all that. But I like you. I'm going to give you a shot. So he gave me a shot. I worked in the corporate division for a while. And I did that for a number of years. And then I thought, you know what? I want to do my own thing. I've always wanted to do my own thing. And that's where I actually stopped working there and I started Broadband Solutions.
So tell me about the moment you decided, right, okay, I'm going to go out and you saw the niche. But tell me about the moment you set up the business.
I just did it. I'm not a good planner. I don't plan things. If I want to do something, I just do it. Because what's the worst thing that can happen? It doesn't work out. Who cares? At least I gave it a go.
It's good attitude.
And I always think that, I always say to people, if you actually believe that you're good at what you do, go out and do something else that you really want to do. And if it doesn't work out, you'll always find another job because you were good at what you were doing anyway. So you have nothing to be afraid of. You always fall back on your feet, right?
Where do you think you got that belief from, though? It's hard for a lot of people to have that belief.
Yeah, because you know what? I think fear kills you. I'm not fearful of change. I'm not fearful of doing new things. Doing things like this, it's new to me. But I do it because it's different. It puts me out of my comfort zone. I think you have to put yourself out of your comfort zone. And I think a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
And once you start becoming too comfortable, you become lazy and you become complacent, and someone else will replace you. And you just, and at the same time also, we all have a timeline. Whether it's 20 years, 40 years, 60 years, 100 years.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that time again.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So you might as well make the most out of it, so you don't sit in your bed when you're 90 or 100 or whatever you are saying, I wish I did this.
Yeah.
I wish I did that.
True,
right?
true.
Just got to give it a go.
So a lot of people are sitting in safe jobs and afraid to move, would always dreamed about setting up their own company. What would be some of your tips to step out of the comfort zone, get out?
I think if you really dream it, you can live it, right? I stole that from Enzo Ferrari. Like he says, if you can really dream it, if you dream it, you can live it, right? So there's never a right time. People go, there's a right time to get married. There's a right time to have kids. Sure. There's a right time to do this. There's a right time to do that. What is the right time? The right time is right there and then, right? I think if you really believe in yourself and you think you should really do something that you really believe in. And you should really do something that you want to do. And people are going to have an opinion of what's right and wrong all the time. But, they don't pay your bills. So their opinion doesn't really matter. Yeah. So you should do what you want to do and what's close to your heart and just give it a go. Yeah.
I think it's a fear of failure for a lot of people. So did you have a couple of failures along the way, and how did you get over them?
Yeah, I think you're always going to fail in some way, right? And you're always going to disappoint someone in some way. You're not going to be able to keep everybody happy, but you are always going to fail in some way, And even today, there's days that I do things that the way I shouldn't do, and there's failures even within our organization, even today, right? But that's how you learn. You learn from your failures, right? You learn from your mistakes. Yeah. They see. I remember seeing people and they go, "Oh, he's so smart." I'm like, well, he's just made more mistakes. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn. As long as you learn from your mistakes and you don't continue to repeat them over and over again.
Well,
right?
that would be a bit of a disaster. So how did you convince, the first, was it a hotel or to actually use your service as opposed to Telstra or Optus?
Yeah. Look, I remember my first client. It was a real estate agent. I had a great relationship with him previously, so that was my first customer to sign. In regards to hotels, so at Broadband Solutions, we look after probably over 85% of all the hotels in Australia. That's a whole new story on its own. I remember I was playing golf one day in Albert Park. I had a tiny office, probably half the size of this set.
Nice.
I got a phone call from a hotel saying we have a requirement for internet service for a conference. I stopped playing golf. I went back to the office. I found them a wireless solution that they could put on the roof to give them access for their conference. 4 days later, I got another phone call from another hotel. And a week later, I got another phone call from another hotel. And I thought, wow, there's a niche market here for conferencing.
Okay, brilliant.
And that's how I started
And how much would you put down? So you grew it then to having a turnover of 30, or a revenue of 30 million. So how much would you put down to luck, and how much would you put down to hard work?
I don't believe in luck. I believe in opportunities, right?
Yeah.
You create your own opportunities, and I think it's really important not to have blinkers on. What happens in life, we get so consumed with our everyday life and everything that's going on. So we just got to take the moment to actually clear our mind. So for me, that phone call was the opportunity. Right. We went from doing $10,000 a month within 2 years to doing $300,000-$400,000 a month. Wow. So, and there was times before that I thought, wow, why am I doing this? I should go and get a 9-to-5 job. Totally. This is crazy. I have no life. I'm breaking my back every day. So I think if I could have that day, I could have continued and played golf that day and not did anything with that one opportunity. So that one phone call changed my life. Right. Yeah. And there was a couple other phone calls and a couple of other decisions that I made along the way that changed the course of my future and the course of my life. But I could have done so differently with those calls and those actions. Totally. So it's just those opportunities.
Tell me about a couple of the other phone calls. So there was a phone call on the golf course?
Yeah, so the phone call on the golf course. Yeah. And then the next big thing that happened to me was, So I remember signing up the Western Hotel in the Starwood Hotel in Melbourne, in
Huge.
Sydney, sorry.
Yep.
And I remember calling Alex, the gentleman, the IT manager there, and saying, well, the conference is finished. Why don't you keep the link and just use it? And he said, no, like, we can't do this. We use a different supplier. They're a very big major supplier, and they provide all our movie content on our internet. And I thought, okay, because if you wanna do something with them, I'm happy to look at it then. Why don't you give them a call? I remember my nephew Lachlan had leukemia and he was going through treatment. He was 3 years old, and I remember going to the factory outlet to buy him a DVD player so he can watch DVDs while he was doing his treatment. Right. Essendon DFO. I remember pulling my car into the car park. There's a JB Hi-Fi. Before I got out of the car, I thought, you know what? I'm going to call this company, this guy that Alex recommended. I wasn't really big on cold calling. I was quite afraid to pick up the phone and make that phone call. So anyways, I picked up the phone. I introduced myself. I said, hi, I'm Sam from Broadband Solutions. We provide internet service to some hotels. I heard that you guys do this. How can we collaborate together? And the lady said, oh, well, I'll put you through to this gentleman and have a chat to him. I spoke to him. He goes, look, perfect timing. We're going through a tender process. Why don't you come up to Sydney and see me? And I remember getting my business partner, Brad, and saying to him, let's go up and see this guy. And he said, oh, well, there's no way in hell we can do this. We're a two-man show. We run a small office. There's no way in hell. I said to him, can we deliver what we're going to promise them? He said, yes, we can deliver it.
He said
as
that
long as we can deliver it. It's relevant how big we are, who we are.
Yeah.
As long as we can deliver the service and add value, that's all that matters. So we got on the plane, came to Sydney, had that meeting, and we just went through the process.
Went from there.
That was a game changer for us.
A game changer. And so that was after how many years of yourself? And
probably 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Probably 2-3 years after we started the business. Yeah.
And so tell me about your business partner. Who's that?
So Brad Hughes. I started the business initially. I used to work with Brad at FTEL. He used to work in corporate sales, corporate support. Absolute genius.
Yeah.
He worked for a company called Planet Netcom in Penrith. So he never worked in the same office as me in Melbourne. So we used to talk to each other over the phone, never seen him face to face. So I started the business within 6 months or so. I found it very difficult to be that technical guy, sales guy, marketing guy, the whole lot. I was caught up in Melbourne traffic one day in the corner of Latrobe and Queen Street, and it's pissing down rain. And I'm like, the weather's miserable, life sucks, I can't do this anymore by myself, I need help. I picked up the phone, I called Brad. I said, listen, I've started a business. I'll give you 50% based on one condition. If you pack up your bags and come down to Melbourne by the end of the week. And he packed his bags from Penrith, came down to Melbourne.
Wow.
I picked him up at Melbourne Airport. I remember the first word he said was, oh, I thought you'd be much taller than what you are, because we've never seen each other face to face.
You've never seen
No, never met face to face. We shook hands, and we never signed paperwork for 4 or 5 years.
No.
It was just based all on a handshake,
And you offered him 50% without having ever laid eyes on him.
Yeah, 50%. I believed in him because I used to work with him, and absolute genius of a person.
So what was it exactly that you needed, like his skills?
I needed someone to do set up the technical end.
Okay.
So initially we resold other people's services,
Yeah.
but the plan was to actually set up our own network, and we distributed through our own network. I had no expertise. I had no expertise in terms of billing systems. I was typing up invoices in Microsoft Word. You can't really do that when you're running a telecommunications business, right? You need a proper billing system. So that's where Brad came in. And we're still partners.
Brilliant.
We're still 50-50. We haven't allowed anyone buy into the business. We're still best friends, and it's one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. I've been quite lucky enough to meet that right person. We are totally different people, very, very different personality-wise.
Yeah.
But we just click and we work very well together.
I think finding that business partner, the right person who you can work together, complement each other. It's not an easy task to find that person, though, is it?
No, it's not. When you say luck, maybe I have been lucky in terms of finding him. But and it's just worked really, really well for us.
Yeah, no, that's great. And so tell me about a couple of the other milestones to where you are now. So any other stories or milestones to keep the success, or a changing moment where you said I could have gone one way or the other? Yeah,
look, I think there's always things that can go wrong or right. For us, it's really been about building a strong foundation in our business.
Yeah.
We've done things probably much slower I would have liked to. But we've got a really good, strong business.
Okay.
The foundations are right. But there's been challenges all along the way.
Absolutely.
Like I remember learning not to put all your eggs in one basket, right? You hear that so many times. They're like, yeah, okay. I remember having a customer that was 80% of our revenue.
Right.
Right.
Wow. Big
And-
risk.
Yeah, and then one day hearing that customer's gonna leave, and thinking, oh wow, what do we do? Do we sell the business now? And you start going, wow, I should sell the business, and we came close to selling the business one day because of that. And then I thought, you know what we got to do is diversify. Instead of having like 3 or 4 suppliers where they buy wholesale and they sell it into hotels,
Yeah.
we should go to all the hotels directly and sign them up directly.
Okay, brilliant.
You know, not all hotels are going to leave overnight, but one supplier can leave over a few months.
Yeah.
So those are lessons that I learned, and I started to diversify.
Yeah.
And also, it's about seeing what's in the future. You can't predict the future, but with technology, I always knew that internet cost is going to come down.
Yeah.
It's going to get cheaper over time,
Yeah.
and bandwidth's just going to become like electricity and gas. Everybody needs it. It's just going to grow and grow.
Yeah.
So what we did was, over the last 9 or 10 years, we've invested and created our own phone system. So we built our own phone system in the cloud. So as internet becomes cheaper, more
Yeah.
things go in the cloud, and
Yeah.
more things like phone systems migrate to the cloud. So there's been a bit of a change from our business, moving from just a telecommunications business
Yeah.
to a software and a technology business.
Right. Okay.
And it's about diversifying and changing. So
Well, you have to, but things change. Like, so if you look back to when you started in 2005, when you had that little dial-up noise
Yeah.
and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
things have changed so much. So you've moved then into cloud services and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But at the moment, so it's about 50% of SMEs are only put the business in cloud. And do you envisage that will be 100% at some point?
Definitely. I think people are moving away from having upfront costs, having maintenance fees and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So what's great about technology is that it's constantly changing.
Yeah, it's scary
right?
though.
So you can be a millionaire over and over and over and over again based on different technologies, right?
Yeah.
So over the last 5 years, I've seen companies start in terms of in cloud technology from zero to build to $100 million businesses, right? So it's quite exciting, but it's about having the foresight. But also it's not about money. It's about how do you leave a legacy, and how do you be part of something that's different and cool, and just like something that not everybody could see. So it's about being part of different technologies and being in the front run, like be a front runner, being an early adopter in technology.
Yeah, it's hard though to be a front because, like, so what would you say now would be the next big thing?
Yeah, look, I get excited about virtual reality. I think, like, I'm not an expert, but I think it has so much, to offer.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, going back to playing Atari or Commodore 64.
Yeah.
So now you can sit in your living room and you can play PlayStation with anyone around the world.
Yeah, it's
right?
brilliant.
So
It's
you can
amazing.
play anyone around. So the technology is there, right? What's stopping us in terms of being able to be educated anywhere in the world? Like, let's say I want to go to Harvard or Stanford.
Yeah.
I don't have the means to do that now. I have kids, I have a life, I have a business.
Yeah.
But what's stopping me from putting that, device on and sitting in a lecture room with the best lecturers in Stanford
Absolutely.
and other students in the same room and being able to be educated? Or even, medicine, you can see doctors performing surgeries and all this kind of stuff. So for us, what gets me excited is that how do we write the software? So not the devices. So that's for the big boys like Google and all that do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
But
So-
how do we write the software? How do we
Okay.
write the software to be able to do different things?
Yeah. Does it scare you in terms of your business? Like, do you think with your business, like, we could be gone in a second with like Google
Yeah.
and these big boys could just come and
Yeah.
wipe us out at any point?
Yeah, no, I'm not. You know why? Because I've been on the most amazing journey of my life. I am in a place that I could have never dreamed of being. So if I was to lose everything tomorrow, I've learned so much over the last 10, 20 years that
Really?
I'll be able to start something new, but I'll still be happy. I'm content.
That's good.
But if I start being fearful, then I start thinking too much about
Yeah.
how things can go wrong
Yeah.
and having plan Bs and all that. I try not have a plan B, just a plan A, and just stick to it and give it my best shot.
Yeah. What do you wish you'd known now when you were starting then? What do you wish you'd known then that you know now?
Yeah, good. A lot of things.
Yeah.
Good lawyers, good solicitors, good taxpayer, man, good accountants, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But look, I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I think, like, for me, it's always about, like, I don't read a lot of books. I don't listen to a lot of stuff.
You don't?
No, I don't, which is controversial because people say, read books, listen to this, learn from other people. I like to live my life as it's the first time it's happening.
Okay,
I like
cool.
to live my life to the fullest and make my own mistakes and learn from my own mistakes. And I like to live my life like I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
No, that's great.
And I just want to give it my best shot.
Do you have mentors or people who inspire you?
I've had mentors along the way. I think one of the things that we find quite challenging in Australia is that there's not a lot of mentors out there. But with me, I've never really looked up to any particular person, but I've found mentors within my own field in technology where I've been able to sit down and just touch base with, right?
Yeah.
But what I try to do is, one of the things that I'm trying to do is I'm setting up a foundation called the Bashiry Foundation, and what I want to do is I don't want to teach people how to do business. I want to teach people to actually empower people to believe in themselves, to just do what they want. And it's amazing. I think what we do is we put a limit on ourselves as a person. But if you really want to, you can achieve anything you set your mind to.
Yeah.
And nothing can stop you. So it's just that fear and the belief and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, removing that. So the foundation is
Helping the
young people.
Yeah, helping the
Aiding
young
young people.
generation, I think we have a big responsibility to give back to the young generation because a lot of us are lost. I used to be lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
And there's so much social media, all this stuff out there, and you're supposed to live your life in a certain way. You're supposed to do things in a certain way.
Huge
all that.
pressure.
There's a lot of pressure on
Yeah.
on young people to be a certain image
Yeah.
and to do certain things. But I think what's really important is that just do what you love and
Yeah.
do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you won't fail. And if you fail, you'll learn from it and you pick yourself up again. And that's the thing, right? You got to be able to pick yourself up over and over again.
That grit and resilience.
You have to. You can't give up. Once you give up, then you're finished.
There's a strong economic case for like refugees and the entrepreneurial spirit of refugees. Will you focus any of your energies on helping refugees or changing policies in
sure.
Australia?
Look, I don't want to just help just one particular. I think we all Australians. I think when you come to Australia, we all Australians. We become part of the community and all that. In terms of the policies and all that, I try not to get into politics.
Fair enough.
But look, I think there's reasons for everything, right or wrong. But I think a lot of people come here for a better life.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we are very blessed to be in a situation where you can give that opportunity to people.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I think it's just about helping the young generation altogether.
Thanks for sending in the questions, guys. Okay, so the first question is from Christian. He said 90% of hotels in Australia use your broadband service. What sets you apart from other companies?
Sure. Okay. Exactly. That's a very good question. So
He's in IT.
yeah. So I guess what we did different was I spent over a year understanding the business, understanding hotels and what hotels did right and wrong.
Yep.
So when I went into a hotel, I realized hotels have 3 internet links, most of them. One for back office, one for admin, one for conferencing. It made no sense to me why they did that, right?
Yep.
So to answer that question, it was about customizing a solution that was different to what was out there. So I built a solution where we could provide one link and break that internet link into 3 segments where they could use it for 3 different purposes. And I built a portal where they could actually go to that portal and push the speed up and down as they required. But also, I realized a hotel is a 24/7 business. It's not a 9-to-5 business. So again, I differentiate our business by offering them 2 separate internet connections into the hotel. So if one died, if there was a cut, like someone cut that internet link or something went down, the other internet link will take over. And these things, they're pioneering back then. Huh?
Were they not being done?
No, they were not being done. So they had, for example, they had one link through Telstra and they had no redundancy. So what we did was we put a hardware, a Cisco switch or a router, which allowed them to automatically take over if one link went down. Going back 10 years ago, no one was doing that.
Right, okay.
So for me, it was about finding something that was different and something that no one else was doing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, why would they come to a company like ours when they could go to someone like Telstra?
Exactly.
So we became the best in that vertical.
Brilliant.
We didn't try and be everything to everybody.
Yep.
But it's really a partnership. It's about understanding the business and becoming part of the business, because it has to be a win-win situation. It has to be a win for us, for the customer, and the people that are using that service.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what we did different.
So developing that real, like, that relationship.
And understanding their business, you need to become part of their business.
Yeah.
You don't want to sell someone something that they don't need. So you really need to understand and comprehend how they do things.
The next question is, have you prepared your business for 5G?
Yeah, good question. Internet of Things, 5G is definitely going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
Can we be part of it? Yes and no. What we are doing differently is we're trying to create that software and continue to create more software. I think what's going to happen is the internet's, as I said, it's going to be like gas and electricity. It's about the add-ons. It's about the toaster and the microwave that connects to that electricity that allows you to do different things.
Yeah.
So for us, it's about what devices can we put onto the internet that's going to allow you to do different things. By the end of the day, everybody needs internet. So the internet's going to be a requirement whether you like it or not. But it's about what other add-ons can we add. But I think 5G is definitely going to be a game changer. And I'm really looking forward to it and what it brings to the market.
No, it's great. I like how you say you're looking forward to it. No fear.
No fear.
Now that you've made it in the telco industry, are there any other verticals you're looking to explore and why? And that's from Rashid.
I got into the property market probably
Okay.
a long time ago. I remember buying my first house, which I still have, and renovating it and renting it out. And over the last probably 5 or 6 years, I do some property development where I buy in one area and one area only, because I know the area quite well. And I only do projects where I only build 3 to 6 townhouses over 1 or 2 projects, and I'll stick to that. So I've created this formula in my head where I have my own draftee, my own builder, and my own civil engineer, and the project usually gets done over 4 or 5 lunches. I buy the land usually in that one particular area. I buy the land without actually even going and having a look at the house, because I buy for the land value. I know how many townhouses you can put on that. If I was to do a drawing, if I was to put 2 bricks together, I wouldn't have a chance. I'm terrible in design. I can't draw a straight line. I can't hang a picture frame up. Terrible. But I'm still building these houses because I've put a formula together and I have the right people in place. So I do that. I've been doing that for probably 5-6 years.
And how successful has the formula been?
I don't know. We find out because I don't sell any of the houses. I keep them all. So my plan is to build a portfolio of a certain amount of houses over the certain amount of years.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll find out when it comes time to sell it one day.
Yeah.
If it's been successful or not. But the trick is to build enough equity.
Yeah.
So the trick is to build enough equity in each project to be able to use that equity to do the next project without having to fund it out of my own pocket.
Okay.
So I guess in that way it has been successful because I have been able to build enough equity.
And has the recent turn in the property market worried you? Or
No, not really, because I'm looking at it long term.
Okay.
I'm not here to build a property and sell it. For me, it's a 10, 20-year plan.
Yeah.
So for me, the thing has been, the tricks and the formula has been not to allow my ego get in the way.
Yeah.
I never went and built an apartment where I put myself under stress. I never did a $20 million project where if things went wrong, I couldn't have sleepless nights.
Right.
So I was stuck to the $2 to $3 million projects.
Yeah.
If it takes 10 years to do, it takes 2 years to do, it doesn't worry me. So it's always been about not overstretching myself and staying within my own limits and my own comfort zone.
The area that you know, which is in Melbourne.
Yeah, so I built in Coburg, 9 k's from the CBD.
Nice. Okay.
Coburg, Reservoir, West Preston. It's worked very well for me.
Okay.
I didn't like it at the start when I moved there. I'm like, oh, wow, I don't want to live here. But I realized how much potential it's got. And yeah, that's what I've been doing every year.
Brilliant. You have a beautiful watch. We actually spoke about this earlier. I told you somebody would ask this question. And clearly love the finer things in life. What has been your biggest financial splurge? And that's from Alana.
I'm really bad with money. I don't save. Look, for me, it's really been something people go, oh, why do you drive a certain car? You shouldn't waste your money on this car at this age. You should save. You should do all this stuff. And there's not a right or wrong. Everyone's different, right? Everyone's got a different mentality to life and all that. But I don't believe in the fact that, you're going to work for 60, 70 years and you're going to retire and then you're going to be able to buy that thing for yourself where you could have always done it because you don't know what life has in order for you, like, you know, I could just drop and die, walk out of the studio.
No.
I could get hit by a bus, hopefully not.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Hopefully not.
you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow,
True,
right?
absolutely.
Those old days of work 50, 60 years, save up, do this and that. So for me, I
Enjoyed along the way.
yeah, I enjoy, like, you know, I work hard, but I reward myself.
Yeah.
I never do anything because it's cool or it's what people want or this and that. I do it for me, but it doesn't define you as the person that you are, because you could lose all those things tomorrow. And you could lose it all in the blink of an eye. But yeah, for me, yeah, there's been many things, so I won't go into it.
Well, give us the biggest one. Give us like
Look, but my biggest thing was, I guess, buying a Ferrari. I've always wanted a Ferrari.
nice.
Since I was a little kid, I dreamt of having a Ferraris. I dreamt of that sound, that color, all those things that a lot of boys
Yeah.
and girls do like.
Yeah.
So, you know, for me, it was a massive achievement. I remember when I was in LA for a conference, I rented a Ferrari, and I felt so guilty for renting it because it's so expensive to rent it.
Really?
You know? And I thought, you know what, I can rent it for one day. I rented it for a day, and I fell in love with it.
You
And
said,
when
"I gotta
came
have it."
back, yeah, I came back up on my first one. So
Wow.
No.
Congratulations.
thank you.
Well, you deserve it. What is the one piece of advice for anyone taking the plunge to start their own business?
Like I said before, really, I think you're the only person that's stopping you. So don't be afraid. Give it a go, because you'll die wondering. You know, a lot of people have so many amazing ideas, but they don't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
But also do your research, right? Ask people. Do your own research. You know, the research that's available to kids now wasn't available to us.
Yeah.
We had to go and get encyclopedias and go and
Go
get
to
a
the
library
library,
card,
yeah.
go to the library. And that is a thing called Google. You know,
Yeah.
you can Google everything. You can learn so much. So my biggest advice would be to find something that you're actually passionate about. Don't do it for the money. Do it because you actually are going to make a difference in your life or anybody else's life. But do something that you're actually passionate about. And if you're good at what you do, then the money comes with it. And you got to do something that you're passionate about and you love, because then you continue to do it every day, and it's not a chore. Because so many people are in jobs that they don't like, and they're stuck there because they have so many commitments.
Yeah.
But if you do what you love, you'll never feel like you're working a day, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't about loving to sell internet. I didn't do it because I wanted to sell internet. I did it because I wanted to have the financial freedom and the freedom to my life, but also I wanted to create something. I wanted to prove to myself that I could create something from nothing. So there's different ways of thinking about it,
Yeah.
but you should really do what you want and give it a go. You got nothing to lose.
And do you think the little boy in Iran would be, if they could look at you now, would he be proud?
I don't know. I'm not very proud of myself yet. I still got a long way to go, but I'm very happy with what I've been able to do for myself and also for others. And it's always about changing the cycle.
Yeah.
You know, like I said at the start, there's things that can go wrong, and life plays a different card. But it is what it is. It's about just moving forward and making a difference in your life. But you also have a responsibility to give back. You really have to give back.
Yeah.
And there's different ways of giving back, but you got to find your way of giving back, and you got to continue to give back.
Sam, that was lovely. That was a really nice story. Thanks very much for sharing it with us here on New Investors.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.